My name is Gloria. I am the face and voice behind Allure x Alchemy, the alchemist explorer of our soul's magic, human experience, life beyond, and the great unknown, also known as the great divine. I am an activator of our human's potential and our soul's magic. You're listening to Soulosophy, my podcast series. How do I spell the word? It's soul, S-O-U-L, plus philosophy, soulosophy, philosophy from my soul, in other words. For those who are familiar with me or Allure x Alchemy, know that I often talk about how I manage to reconnect with my soul and how my soul has fired me up, inspires me, and plays a key role in this new chapter of my life. And for those who are new to me, I shall share more as I go along the podcast series. But in general, I explore from love to our human experience, the human dynamics, and how we interact with each other, our life on earth and life beyond, meaning afterlife, and the connection to the great divine. On today's podcast series, I thought that I want to explore love. Love in the context of why, because am I a hopeless romantic? I think every girl is a romantic. You can say hopeless in a way, but whether or not we exercise it in the real world, that's a different story. But yeah, I'm a romantic. But in today's context, is there still romance with everything going online, or is there more? That in my interaction with many people, more so than ever, I realized that there are a lot of I would call them the wounded hearts. People who have been wounded in past relationships. People who feel that love is complicated. More so than ever. Is it that because people are more open into talking about it? Because now that we have platforms like social media? Or is it that just that life, it becomes more complicated, that or we have too much distraction? Or how is all these things come about? But before I go into that, let me tell you the origin of it. Not the origin of love, but the origin of why I want to explore love, and why love is one of the key areas I'm exploring in my Allure x Alchemy, which my main base was Facebook. I started Allure x Alchemy in early 2022 on Facebook. And I knew that love was the main focus. Prior to that, a lot of it happened. The way that I see love was much more different. But one key event changes everything. And I have to go to the year 2020. In September 2020, I became a widow. I lost my husband to cancer. The discovery of his illness was pretty late. So months prior, then we came into the understanding. It was brief but very challenging. I remember when he told me that the doctor diagnosed him and he got stage 4 cancer. And he was in the hospital, being admitted at that point in time. I have to hid my feelings from him. I know it must have felt terrible for whoever that has to go through it. Much more, he was my husband. It must be a very scary place to be, to suddenly know that your time on earth is counting down on you. So every day when I visit him at the hospital, I have to pass by the same route, which is the train station, the bus terminal, the shopping mall. It's all interlinked. And it's always busy. All these places are busy places. So that day, no difference. In the afternoon, I have to go out to get something. So I have to pass by the same route to get to the train station. And I remember I could focus on seeing all these people passing through me. Or I could focus on what the couples, them holding hands. I just zero in on them holding hands. And my inner monologue suddenly was the loudest, which I haven't heard for a while, was the loudest, and say, you don't know how lucky you are. So all those things that I wanted to say in the walk, when I hold back and not say it, things that's going to upset my husband, suddenly it echoes in my head in that context. And I just felt that these people, all these couples, walking about, going by the day, and you can tell, when you're in a public place, that you can tell that there's some couples are closer, and there are some couples who've been together for a long time and they lost their spark. And more so, especially people like us who are more spiritually gifted, you look at that, you just sense it, you just see it. And all I felt is not jealousy. Do I envy? Yes, I envy. But I also have a rush to go to those people who you think that, when you look at them, you think that they are a little bit, their relationship is on the chill side. I have a rush to tell them that please treasure each other. And those young couples, I had a rush to tell them that please appreciate it. Because not everyone gets a chance. And then on, I remember every time I have to pass, whether I'm going to visit him in the hospital or coming back home, I pass by those where every time I look at those couples, that's all in my mind, all in my mind. And of course, when I see couples that are happy, the strange thing is, I felt happy for them. When I see that they enjoy life, I felt happy for them. There wasn't a bitterness or whatsoever. It is quite amazing, but I just felt that they have something precious that sometimes we all take for granted. So when I lost my husband, and it all was very sudden because the prognosis was from 4 years to become 2 years, to become 1 year, to become weeks, to become any time. It was all very sudden. It was very traumatic. But I have to accept it. But what happened, and I just like to explore on love for this episode, was that after he was gone, when I look at other people's Facebook, friends and all this, or even the connections I'm not so close, and they share their family photos, and they share their, whether it's just with their partner or with the whole family, I genuinely felt so overwhelmingly happy for them when they share happy pictures. So much so that sometimes I may scare them a bit because some of them are not very close. I'm never being expressive in that context. That I so much so that I write to them and say, I feel so happy for you. Such a lovely family. And everything I genuinely feel happy for them. Their love for each other touched me. It really touched me. And I knew that my heart has changed. It was different. I felt things differently. And I couldn't quite come to terms. I just trying to cope each day. Because I wasn't living in the best environment. And I topic for another day. But in an area that I wasn't being able to heal. I live in a place that I live with people that I'm not allowed to heal. Or rather, it prevents me from doing a proper way that I thought. But anyway, the thing is I found my way around it. And that is why I'm able to share. And that's why I'm able to be encouraged and by my team of light. When I say team of light, is spirit guides, angels, spirit guides, divine beings that I work with. I have a team of lights that guide me and work with me very closely. And it is that initiation, on the initiation for me to start Allure as Alchemy. Having gone through about 2 years of solitude. I'm right now into my 3rd year of solitude anyway. But what I've learned so far and what the coming of my gifts and everything. But it was through that I felt that love is such an important part in our life, how it can change and how it can encourage. How is a source? It's a source of self-driving force if we allow it to be a driving force. So all those cliches that you hear about, this like love is the answer, whatever, it is the truth. For me to say anything like this under the name of Allure as Alchemy, or write about it, or do any recordings about it, it has to be I have to be affirm or confirm that that is what I believe in. I do not share anything that I do not believe in or I have not personally experienced it, the most important thing. I have to personally either walk the path, I've experienced it, or I've done enough observation or done enough study or enough research, enough clarification with my team of lights to know that that is the truth or that is what's happening with everybody. I do not look at something and I parrot it. I do not look at something and thought that's a great idea and I parrot it. I don't do things like that because it's not fair. I'm skeptical myself. I have to verify everything, including my own gifts. Everything is through confirmation. So when I through this process of seeing what love can do, then I experience the other side, the gloomy side of what people could not experience with love. So right after my husband's crossing over, obviously I have to go onto Facebook, which I wasn't active then. But I have to go on Facebook and basically, announce his passing. And at first I use it as a bit of catching up, then a bit of distraction, and of course eventually it became a form of therapy in a way because I start talking to people online. Prior to that, I would say that I have about coming to, I don't know, it could be about half a year or longer, about half a year to 9 months of me. I talk about I live in a muted world. Pretty much that. I don't really talk. I mean, of course, you go to the shops, you talk to the shop people. That is without, definitely that's going to happen. But I'm talking about real conversation. I avoided people. That's what grief does to you. And I do not have a supportive family, so I do not talk to them. Neither do they want me to talk about it. So death is something that many people are uncomfortable with. But I have shared some stuff about dealing with death, and especially from spirituality point of view. I will, as I shared in some of my writings before and video, I will share more because I need time to process, and I think I've entered my 3rd year since I lost my husband. I've done enough processing, understanding, and I'm ready to share more. What is it like? Not just from our point of view, not just from a widow point of view. What is it like? What is the world out there for them when they cross over? But we're coming back to love, the gloomy side of love. So when I start talking to people on Facebook, and at first I joined some bereavement groups and all this, thinking that I would need the support, and I have the privilege of supporting them. But I also joined some of this depression group, thinking that I may need the help. But I also ended up learning so much more. And what broke my heart, and I'm speaking true from heart, I'm not exaggerating, I'm not trying to prove myself any better, but this is sincerely, what broke my heart was learning, listening, reading of so many people who are so wounded by love that they're so frightened to love again. There are real cases that they pan out what are the detailed events, and there are those that who didn't give account, but then you can tell that they are very, very, very damaged. And there are those who are very broken, just purely based on their past love experiences. And of course, I also got to personally know and also read about some other people who had deeper trouble than past love experiences, but through childhood trauma and what has caused the chain of events that lead on to their adult life, and as well as how it impacted how they view life and how they view love. And it broke my heart. In a way, even though I've always been able to relate to people of all demographics, because by profession, I'm a movie producer. I work in entertainment line, and I was a TV commissioning executive. I was a movie development executive. I produce movies as well. And I took a break from all anyway. But in all these entertainment experiences always allow me to talk to people of all levels, whether, anybody. It's just the nature of the job that allows me, and also the natural curiosity. And I naturally enjoy talking to people when I'm on the go or on the job. But of course, when you build a connection, it's one-to-one, that's a different story altogether. But on the go, you have to. When you do documentaries, you have to be able to allow people to, you have to be curious about people's life. You have to have a vested interest in what they do and everything. So, but what happened is, through this learning, it expose me to the other side of the world more in depth, even though I've always had friends from internationally. But when I get to more in depth talk to people who are, certain territory focused, I spoke to a lot of people in the US and the UK. The rest of it is much lesser. But this whole is it's quite shocking to me, to be honest with. It could maybe be also due to the fact that I was with Phil, the name of my husband, my late husband. I was with Phil for 21 years. Right, we dated 8 years and we got married for 13. So with 21 years with him, and plus, whatever after he's crossing over the number of years, I'm still in solitude, right? That I'm not exposed to so-called the dating world, or what the dating world is about, much, especially outside of Singapore. I'm based in Singapore, anywhere that's outside of it. And suddenly to realize that it has changed tremendously. How people react to each other, how, the etiquette and the interest, the effort, the mindset, the behavior and everything, it all one thing led to another and impacted. As at one point, I felt asking, at what point has things changed? At what point has the dating scene changed? That what we thought that is always the cliche as what we saw in movies or anything, and still much more in Asia, is still quite intact. But it's pretty different, if I may allow to use, what I observe, which is the Western territory, Western society. At what point things start to change? That people become so jaded about love, become so frightened about love. And it broke my heart. Why? Because I experienced it differently. Phil and me, even though it's not perfect, I married a man who is much older than me. Culturally, we're different. Racially, we're different. Everything is different. Apart from we work together that shares the same interest and the same curiosity that we have everything for under the sun and beyond. Other than that, everything of us is different. So in a way, we still have a lot, while we're together, we have a lot to iron, to kind of iron the kinks out, to learn about each other. There will be a lot of differences, but we work through it. Maybe because we work together professionally, which make things a bit easier, Although professionally we have our run-ins all the time because we both were pretty strong-headed about ideas and concepts, you know. So it's just the nature of it. But anyway, I enjoy, I would say we have a good relationship. If I were to compare into this context of what I read and everything, and I think I'm so blessed to compare on that level. But a lot of it also takes a lot of work. You know, two persons have to be willing to sit down to discuss something. No different from you go for, you know, a project discussion with a client. Two persons have to be willing to sit down to say that, okay, this is what we agree, not we agree, in order to work together. And nobody is trying to one-upmanship the other or try to play my games. But in today's context, there seems to be a lot. That is what I keep listening and keep seeing repeatedly. You know, from observation to experiences to everything. And I thought that why is it so? 8 billion people in the world. You found each other. Do you know how rare it is? I like to use this example, like buying the lottery. You can have so many people playing the lottery. And the odds of it, they always calculate the odds for you. But this, if we're talking about 8 billion people, you found each other. What is the odds of it? Do people know how precious this is? No doubt that there are some people that are totally wrong for you, but there will be some that are good for you, or you feel comfortable with, that maybe you need a bit of work or whatsoever. You may say that, you know, whoever is destined for each other, you know, it's about destiny, it's about fate. Let me tell you what I personally find out. And obviously everybody can come to a different conclusion. Everybody has a different divine truth. But what I found out is destiny and all this, they are just windows of opportunity. You can make the soul bond, right? How we end up here as what relationship, it all has to have this wild card involved, which is called karma. This is all calculated. You can't avoid it, you can't escape it. That will decide. You can, as much as I would like to come down to earth here to eventually we get married with each other, it may not happen because the karma wise, the way they calculate, there's something we owe back. There's a debt involved somewhere. But destiny will provide this opportunity for us to meet. We will be attracted to each other. And how do we want to take it from there? It is the human free will. So it doesn't, it's not to say that, you know, unless you have a divine purpose here, you know, like some of these key player that is shaping the world in terms of religion wise, that they're serving God or serving source or serving whoever that it is. Some of them are appointed by the divine. Those, they have a different path. That's different. That is what so-called, you know, the service that they have to collaborate with whoever divine being is. But the rest of us, it's all down to the windows of opportunity. We will meet, and then it's up to us how we're going to solve. And I just felt that in terms of the karmic wise, that people say that, this is a karmic relationship. Let me tell you what's a karmic relationship, right? If I may. Is that we are supposed to resolve this. Not that I say that we come here don't be together. We come here, we're supposed to end the cycle. Whether, you know, the ending of the cycle is we're mutually very happy that we call it a day so that we can move on with our life. Or, you know, we resolve it in such a way that we come together and happily married. Let's using marriage as an example. It's not as if because we meet already, we fight with each other, then we just we should not be with each other because it's karmic. No, then you never resolve it. Each time you incarnate, you're supposed to end the cycle. For whatever thing that we do, we're supposed to end the cycle. So to me, after all this realization, study, experience, learn, everything that I work with my divine team and talk to people, and I thought that let's put it this way: everyone, okay, when at a young age, right, whatever it is, it could be some kids, they may not know the meaning, but they will mouth it. But by teenage years, most of us will want to be in love. Why? Doesn't matter the gender orientation, okay, whatever it is. Everyone wants to be in love, and that love is a romantic love. Naturally, it will come to us that we want to be in love with somebody, because that is the natural way that it is supposed to happen. It opens up our heart. What we experience with our parents, friends, pets, the world, that's a different love altogether. It can never be replaced. You know, you can't say that I have, and you can't say I have my mom loved me a lot, so I don't need any other woman. That's incorrect. It doesn't work that way. In our human experience, we're supposed to experience all forms of love. To be born as a human with consciousness on planet Earth, in this 3D plane, right, on planet Earth, it's both a blessing and a curse. I often say that. In fact, I think in recent time, people, there's also a same saying or similar saying of using the same word, blessing and curse, but they focus it on experiencing of feeling things lately. But I mentioned about this human experience many years ago. Possibly when I first met my husband and he was trying to understand the Eastern religion, which I have a strong knowledge of. And I explained to him about karma and everything, and how reincarnation and everything. And I say that to be born as a human with human consciousness on this 3D plane is both a blessing and a curse. Blessing as in that, because why? We are able to experience desires, emotions, feelings in full technicolor spectrum, only here. It's a full pendulum 180 spectrum. That means we experience the high, very high, the low, very low. And they may think that why should we experience the low, why can't we just experience the high? This is the nature of this 3D world. In order for anything to be in physical, in this density, that is tactile. Only here is tactile. If you go to higher dimension, then yeah, the frequency of the love is higher, that means more positive experiences. But you come into the form of a light being. You don't have a vessel. It's not tactile. It's just light. Which means that no sex. Though I say sex is important, but I'm just using it as an example. Everything is not what you say, it's just hallucination in a way. If you talk about it, it's a hologram if you want it to be. But because you don't need, because it's just true experiences, but only in this 3D, the beauty, and that is why they say heaven on earth, because only here is tactile, in physical form, solid physical form. And that's why we keep coming back here. We keep coming back here for love. We keep coming back here to experience various things. But love is the gateway to everything. Love is the answer to everything. If we allow it, allowing is very important. And it is through that is why I wanted to explore love. There are many, my new discovery after I revisited so-called Facebook again after my husband crossover is all these new online poets that I never know that they, prior to that, no social media that gives that kind of platform, but so many of them, and they're so talented, and they share so much, and they help us to heal, and they help us to see different perspectives. And so there are various other people sharing their light, and I so appreciate all of you. But I would love everyone to be at least to heal. When we heal, we will be able to love again. And maybe in other episodes, I'll talk about this healing and how our heart, how it works, and why do we have this heart chakra, what happened to it, and why is it blocking us from love, and how should we deal with it. So for today, I hope you enjoy what I've said so far and what I've shared so far. And I hope you can join me again. I am on Facebook. That's my main base. Allure X Alchemy. That's like ALLURE, letter X, ALCHEMY. I'm also on TikTok. I've started using more on Instagram. I've got threads by Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter. And I hope to see you again. Well, I can see you. That's a bit scary now, isn't it? I can clairvoyantly see you. Okay, but I hope the next time you come around, I will embrace the fact of free your mind, open your heart, and we can explore these wonders of our human experience together. Love, a life beyond, and the great unknown. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye for now.